And this is how it looked. And then at the end, you went up the stairs to the Temple Mount. This is actually a photograph of what it looks like in there. Incredible architecture, just an incredible scene. This is inside the gate. I assume the blind man was sitting on the outside. Now, there's a modern pool of Siloam. Well, actually, it was made during the Byzantine period, 400, 500, 600 years after Jesus. This was the Byzantine pool of Siloam. And for a long time, when I started going to Israel in the 70s, this is the place that they brought me and said, this is the pool of Siloam. This is all we know. It was there during the Byzantine period, and it makes sense. Now, just so you know, the pool of Siloam, it's the end of 1,700 yards of winding, tunneling water all the way through, 1,700 yards, and it ends up right here at this pool. This is that tunnel that was carved out of solid stone by the ancient Israelites going back to the days of King Hezekiah. In fact, we actually think that the scriptures in 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles actually mention, we think they actually mention this pool, this tunnel that they cut. One end is at that pool I just showed you. The other end is here at, anybody know what this is called? The Gihon Springs. 1,700 meters of feet through, cut through solid rock. It starts here at the Gihon Springs. It goes 1,700 yards to the other end, what comes out at the Pool of Siloam, and this is just what it looks like as you walk through it. You can, as a tourist, walk that whole length. I walked it on a day when the one end was closed, so I walked it all the way down, and then I couldn't get out and had to walk all the way back. And it was wet, and it was cold, and but I got to do it twice, and only paid once. In fact, I think it was closed that day. I'm not sure I paid it all, but that was the deal. And the very famous, anybody know what this is? That's right. This is the Siloam tunnel inscription. It doesn't mention King Hezekiah, but the shape of the letters, the script, suggests it's from King Hezekiah's time. And although his name isn't mentioned, this clearly, I don't think any serious doubt among any serious scholar who honestly is looking at the evidence, that this was from King Hezekiah's time. It commemorated the cutting of that tunnel as the Assyrians were attacking Jerusalem. This is what they did. It says they came from both sides, and this was inside the tunnel. It was found during the Turkish period controlling Jerusalem, the Ottoman Turks. They cut it out of the tunnel and took it to the Istanbul Museum. Have you seen it there? He's been there. I haven't seen it, but he's been there and saw it. And is this our photograph from there? No, this is somebody else's photograph. So anyway, there it was. Oops, I clicked that. I hope I went in the right direction. Okay, and this is the tunnel. It actually started down here, went down through here, and ends up right here at the Pool of Siloam in the days of the Byzantine period. But the Pool of Siloam of New Testament times is down here, apparently outside of the first century city wall. Now get this. The blind guy is right here. Jesus says, walk from here outside the city to the Pool of Siloam down here. It is over a mile downhill. You say, Jesus, that's just not fair. Jesus, that's not right. You gotta be nicer to people who are having problems than that. Jesus, don't you care? And his answer to us is always, I know exactly what I'm doing in this person's life. I have a plan for their life, and this is part of the plan for their life. That might not be what I would do in your life because you're different, and I've got a plan for you. But this is my plan for him. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. And it's so hard for us to do that because we see it from our human perspective, and we got this fairness thing. And Jesus says to the lame man at the pool of Bethesda, just get up and walk. And he says to the blind man outside the temple, you go find the pool of Siloam. And in both cases, he knew what each man needed to do in his own life to exercise the faith he needed to be made whole and to be changed forever. And so the way he's going to work in your life may not necessarily be the way he works in somebody else's, and that's just fine. Because he's doing your plan for you and their plan for them. Over a mile downhill to the pool of Siloam. Isn't it cool how Dr. Wood made that? All right. Remember where the steps are? Steps are up here. The Byzantine pool is here. The pool of Jesus' day is there. It's over a mile downhill. Now, maybe Jesus knew the guy lived next door to the pool. Maybe he knew that. Or maybe Jesus knew it would be the greatest challenge of his life. I don't know. But I know Jesus knew this is what he needed. And the Bible says the man went to the pool and washed and came seeing. Archaeologically, the New Testament pool of Siloam was found, identified just a few years ago. We did not know where it was. And they were actually doing some emergency repair work on some sewer lines. And the workmen, not archaeologists, the workmen, they uncovered some steps. Well, in Israel, especially in Jerusalem, if you dig anywhere, you're going to uncover something. And so the archaeologists are right in the middle of everything. And so as soon as those steps were found, they stopped, and they brought in the archaeologists to finish digging and see what happens. And more steps appeared, and pavement appeared, and they realized they had something pretty spectacular. And it was reconstructed to look like this. About 150 feet wide, about 100 feet long, vice versa. And it had three different levels of steps. And we think, although only this part has been uncovered, the rest of it is still covered up, they think it probably came out and looked something like that. It was very beautiful, and when they picked up stones and checked underneath, and stuff they found, put it in the first century, almost for sure. It's the pool of Siloam of Jesus' day. It's the place where the man had to go over a mile downhill in order to experience his miracle. And Jesus will do what it takes to get us where we need to be so we can experience his best. Now, what archaeology does for us, is it a big surprise to you that archaeologists found the first century, the New Testament pool of Siloam? Is that a big surprise? You would expect it to be there, wouldn't you? Because we know what the Bible says. Dr. Wood took us back to Old Testament stuff, and he kept showing us the Old Testament stuff. Yeah, that's what the Bible says. Well, what do you know? There it is. And so you'd expect New Testament stuff to be the same thing. So archaeology, once again, demonstrates that what the Bible says is true. But archaeology really helps you to appreciate the story. When you realize that the man could have gone to a mikveh right next to him and washed. Would he have been healed? Would he have been healed in that water? No. And was the pool of Siloam water that make it holy water? No. The issue was obeying the Lord. And archaeology fleshes out what an incredible story that was, and just what Jesus expected him to do, and what that man was willing to do by faith and obedience. By the way, do you suppose he had a bad attitude about it? Do you suppose he grumbled the whole way down? If he was anything like me, all the way down to the pool of Siloam, he would have been grumbling and fussing and talking about why it's isn't fair and why the last blind guy didn't have to do that, and blah, 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 blah. I could just hear me. But I don't know what he did, except he went. And when he did, he was healed. Archaeology demonstrates the historical reliability of the story. But archaeology also helps illuminate the story so we can really feel what it was like and understand the impact of that story. And hopefully it will be able to impact our lives something like it did the life of the blind guy. Okay, the story of the pool of Siloam in the Bible. I think we can show you where he sat, where he walked to, and where he was healed. And archaeology has been able to demonstrate all of that for us.